Hello there. Today's video, entitled Parents. Entitled Parents stole my Switch and held it hostage because I wasn't visiting anymore. I'm 20 meters and moved out of my parents' house at 18 because I really can't stand them. And it's for all of the kinds of reasons you can guess. They were jerks, favored my younger siblings, used me as free childcare, told me what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine, and all that BS. When I left, my dad told me not to let the door hit me on my way out and don't come back. I got the smallest and cheapest apartment I could find and have worked the same full-time job for 2 years. My parents didn't even hold out a month before calling me and begging me to come back home. Because without me, someone else had to watch my siblings. I refused because now I finally had time for myself. My dad eventually called me and actually demanded I move back home and pay them rent instead because family is more important than my personal independence. I said back to him that my life is important too. And for once I'm getting to live for myself. So he basically said, well then see how long you can last without us, and we didn't talk for months. I don't know what he was hoping for. I managed well enough by myself. My family seemed to slowly accept that I wasn't going to come crawling back, and over time we seemed to mend things. I could tell they were having a hard time dealing with the fact things were on my terms and not theirs. They begged me to watch my youngest siblings from time to time, even though the two that are closest to me in age are in their mid-teens now. But my parents don't want to put babysitting on them any more than they have to. Which is hypocritical of them, since they tried to put it on me as much as possible. And yes, I have called them out on that. They responded with gaslighting and more months of silence yet again. And again they were the ones to come crawling back to me for help. Not long ago I bought myself a used Nintendo Switch. Though could only afford one game for it at the moment. Which is Mario Kart. I got it bundled with the console for a good deal. My mom came by on a Saturday and asked me to watch my two youngest siblings for a while. She basically pushed them in the door at me and ran. And I was stuck with these two rowdy kids all day in my tiny apartment. My mom didn't come back until after 9 p.m. And that was because I called her and made her come get the kids. And she really didn't like that I cut her fun time short. I said that, unless she wanted to pay me, I wasn't going to be watching my siblings all day anymore. And next time I won't even open the door and I'll call the cops if she just leaves them outside. The next morning I realized I couldn't find my Switch anywhere. So I called my parents. And like I thought, one of my siblings took it. I said I was coming over to get it right away. But my mom said it could wait because my youngest sibling was gaming on it. And she didn't have the heart to take it away. I said it was taken without my permission. And I will be taking it back. I got on my bike and rode there ASAP. And when I arrived, my sibling was crying because the Switch's battery had gone dead and they didn't have the charger. I told them to give it back. But my dad took it and said I can have it back when I agree to start helping out with my siblings more. I told him if that's how he wanted to play this, I'd get police involved. And no, I was not bluffing. He dug his heels in and insisted I wouldn't do it. Until I pulled my phone out and started dialing. My mom yelled wait and hurriedly took my Switch back from my dad. He called her a traitor and demanded she return it to him instead of me. But she said it wasn't worth having police called on them. Before leaving I told them if this ever happens again, I'd be calling the police first. And if they want a Switch for my siblings so bad, they can get their own. My dad yelled that I can't disrespect him like that. And I countered that even though I'm an adult, he's not bothered to ever show an ounce of respect to me. And I'd had enough. Then I walked out with him yelling at me to come back and face him. Right now it's back to silence from them. My mom texted me once begging me to still watch my siblings. I said that if she wanted me to babysit so bad, she could pay me. And I'd only take the money in advance. Because I'm not doing it for free anymore. Especially after they stole from me and tried to keep from returning my property. They don't own me, I'm an adult with my own place and my own life. And they can either get used to it or get lost. It's been over a week since the text convo, and none of them have, as of yet, talked to me again. Which is fine. They can deal with their own messes. Entitled Sister got upset I wanted 30 minutes alone with my daughter on her birthday. Answers to some of the questions at bottom. So it's my daughter's 6th birthday, and we're throwing a party for her Saturday, but her actual birthday is on a Thursday. My lil girl loves her birthday. My sister came out for her birthday. I've posted about her before. She's obsessed with my lil one, and whenever she comes to visit feels like every second she's here she should be able to spend with her, to the point where she'll get upset that her dad, who I co-parent with, takes her a couple days a week. Mind you, she stays for weeks at a time, so she expects him to not see her for weeks. Well, for her birthday, before S even got here, daughter's dad said he'd be picking her up from school and doing something with her on the day of her birthday. Which I said was fine. Well, when I told S, she kinda got annoyed, but said whatever, she'll just do presents and stuff with her before school. I remind her that we need to be on our way to school by 7:30 cause she doesn't care about time, only hers, so whatever she wanted to do she needed to be done by then. Mind you, after her dad drops her back off, she's going to spend the entire night and rest of the weekend with her. Well, when it's time to leave to drop my kid off, she starts to get ready, and I say as nicely as possible that I wanted to drive her myself. She lost it. She wanted to take pictures and drop her off too, so she could spend time with her, since she wasn't going to pick her up after school. I was going to lose it as well, but I just said, listen, you just spent an hour and a half with her, and we'll spend the rest of the night with her. Her dad will be spending time with her after school. Is okay if the person who actually birthed this human gets 30 minutes alone with her? And I turned around and walked out. Needless to say, the rest of the trip was just as uncomfortable as many of her other trips when she tries to pull this stuff. She also, once again, only bought a one-way ticket but was in for quite the surprise when she found out that, unlike before, I was WFH and still am, technically, but go into the office more often, there wouldn't be a car available for her to pick up my lil one every day after school, and her dad would be. There's not much she could do about it because it's not like she can walk to go get her, and the school is far. She ended up buying her ticket back pretty quickly when she found herself sitting in my apartment doing nothing while I was working and lil one was at school, and then her dad's. Please, older sisters out there, remember that your youngest sister is a separate person, and just because you're older you're not entitled to everything. Especially not your siblings' children. Response to comments. Wow, I was expecting this response, but I truly appreciate it. First, I'll say that my daughter adores her and she treats her well. However, I cannot agree with all of you more that the behavior is unhealthy for my sister. I have set boundaries in the past, specifically the visiting without a date of departure. She respected it at first and always had a ticket to go home, but then one time I let it slide that she didn't have a round trip, and from there it was give an inch, take a mile. My sister is super lonely and does have a lot of time on her hands, which she then assumes we all have. I have been wanting to tell her to get a hobby, not in those words, but have found it difficult. She is a very emotional person, and there's a lot going on where she's 10 years older. I used to always follows her around and be up under her, but when I got older and came into my own personality, she was super hurt that I went LC with her. She was always critical, would come to my house and then send me emails when she left with detailed lists of what I was doing wrong, so I started to distance myself. Now that my daughter is here, it's like she's my replacement and smothers her, scared that I may take her away or something. Either way, I am going to have a talk with her because I'm starting to dread every visit, every phone call, and that's not fair to anyone. I know I need to step up and just tell her regardless of how she may take it. Thank you guys so much. Lady let her child scream until me and my dad got sensory overload at the aquarium. Me and my dad have autism. We love sharks, and we were peacefully looking at the shark exhibit at the aquarium. This lady comes along with her child, and she lets the child scream extremely loudly until I have an anxiety episode, sensory overload combination, and my elderly dad was very distressed as well. Although he is very introverted, he bravely tried to ask the lady to calm or soothe her child for my sake, but she screamed at him and caused us so much distress that we had to leave. I don't know what is wrong with people. Screaming at an elderly man who is just trying to protect his daughter from your own child's behavior is unacceptable and appalling. Where is the consideration for others? No, I will not take care of you when you are old. I was North Carolina with my mother for about 6 years. She decided to move to a different state shortly after I had my first baby. Our relationship was hanging by a thread already. Just before she moved, she went off on me about something absurd, so I cut her off. What difference did it make? She was moving anyway. Also, I had seen the type of grandmother she was to my brother's kids, so I knew I wasn't missing out on anything. I ignored her attempts for years to regain contact. Some were rather insulting, like contacting my so on Facebook to express concern that I'd relapsed into drug addiction because I wasn't answering her. I was a new mother spending most of my time breastfeeding, and she pulled that bullshit. When COVID hit, I decided to check in on her. I let casual conversations continue from there with an emphasis on boundaries, which she hates of course. When she would cross lines in conversation, typically by bringing up her past transgressions and hoping for validation of whatever kind, I would quickly shut her down. She didn't want to be North Carolina again, so she would back off fairly quickly. About a year ago she mentioned that her husband's daughter in a different state intended to take care of her and her husband when they retire, however the fuck they plan to do that. That sounded like a good idea to me, and I told her as much. Suddenly she is rethinking this plan. She and her husband bought a big beautiful home within the last 2 years that they have since realized they won't be able to afford in the future. If stepsister has had second thoughts or what, but yesterday my mother started a text convo mentioning the possibility of them moving closer to me and my family. After giving her a few vague and wishy-washy responses, she asked me directly, "Does this idea make you nervous?" And that's the context for the included excerpts from the conversation included at the bottom. I'm annoyed with her for putting me in the position where I had no choice but to hurt her feelings. I don't want to do that, but I'm also 100% fine going back to North Carolina if she wants to press the issue. I owe this lady nothing. She let me raise myself and hasn't been around as my kids have grown from infants into small people. It was her choice to walk away. The whirlwind of chaos that follows her may have slowed as she has aged, but she is still entitled and self-pitying, and I will not even give her half a chance to bring her shit vibes back to my doorstep. So here is what drawing boundaries looks like. I just feel like we have changed and grown so much that it would be okay. I agree that there is evidence of that, but I'm past the point of weighing out the risks. You chose to leave Paul with me and my baby in it. After 6 or so years without contact, I chose to resume a long-distance relationship with you. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, truly, but my instincts tell me that to further integrate you into our lives is not the best choice. I was at the height of my insanity, so please reconsider. Yeah, she said that. The relationship that we have is the salvage of the relationship we had. Much was burned up. I am willing to keep what we've salvaged, but I will not build something new to find out if it works. The kind of relationship that I want with you and that I want you to have with my kids is based on our past. I know it hurts to pay the consequences for the choices that you made, but you can't ask me to change any of it. I have been enjoying making the most of what we have, and I hope you can too. Feels good. That all, folks. If you like this content, please subscribe, hit the like button, and check out my next video. Take care.